Bibliophiles of the internet, my name's Adriana, and today I'm here to give you 5 reasons to read With the Fire on High by Elizabeth Acevedo, which is her newest book. My video on the Poet X was one of the first 5 reasons to read videos I ever made, and it just makes a lot of sense to uplift this amazing sophomore release. This is an Own Voices YA contemporary story about an afro-latinx girl named Amani Santiago who is a teen mother and in her senior year of high school, and she also low-key dreams of becoming a chef because her knack for cooking is often described as an ethereal gift. She hears about her school offering a culinary arts elective that includes a trip to Spain where students will train under professionals, but she worries that she won't have enough time or money to make such a commitment. In the end, it comes down to her passion and the people in her life who support Amani chasing her dreams. Before I get into this, I do want to specify that Amani is half black, half Puerto Rican, and the other main character and love interest, Malachi, is black and Muslim, which I feel are valuable distinctions to make. So reason number 1 to read this book is that the story examines the metaphor of recipes as set rules and boundaries. Recipes are literally a set of instructions that you're meant to follow if you hope to produce a successful dish, and a lot of people regard recipes with reverence because that method is thought of as correct. That is directly connected to how there's this prevalent idea that there's only one way to cook, to be black, to be Latinx, to be a mother, to be a student, to be a successful person. There's literally a phrase we use called the recipe for success. But thinking about things in such strict dichotomous terms doesn't always allow Amani to express who she really is. If we think about recipes, they're always different from family to family depending on culture, depending on influence, depending on context, and if we claim that there's only one right way, we don't allow room for change or for different experiences. Now, there is a flip side to that in the sense that there is something to be said for discipline, for consistency, and especially because Amani struggles when she's not allowed to freestyle her cooking, she realizes that it would allow her to grow if she were to flex that muscle and develop that skill set. We do ourselves a disservice if we cower when things get tough, if we quit because things are not easy or the way we're used to. If we are to grow, it's also important to become comfortable with discomfort. What's best isn't always what's easy, and this book says you belong wherever you make space for yourself. Reason number 2 is that this story does a great job of compassionately and realistically exploring what teenage motherhood can look like. There is so much value in this kind of story because, as the author has said, so many stories end when a young mom has just become pregnant. But the more interesting take on that comes after the child's already been born and that young mom is still going out there and living her life. Amani is doing the damn thing. She is living her life, doing her best, raising a child, and making moves and choices. It's true that her life with a child is a different reality than her friends and classmates know, but it is not a death sentence. It does not make her less. It is not the end of her life, but a part of it. It's not easy, it's not glamorous, and even though people constantly try to belittle her and make her feel ashamed for her situation, Amani holds her head high no matter what. Reason number 3 is that the story is a love letter to how food is healing, food is love, and food is magic. As I said before, Amani really has a gift, and when she's in the kitchen, she has such beautiful instincts that help her to somehow create and remix the perfect dish and find that perfect missing ingredient. When you read this book, you're just reminded of how food is a truly transportive experience. It can take us to a place, to a moment, to a memory. It can make us feel cared for and safe in an instant. I think food is such a prevalent part of Latinx cultures, especially because it brings us together, it speaks to our traditions, and it's a quantifiable, tangible way to show love for someone else. And in a literal sense, food is fortifying, food is strength, and Amani is stronger because she cares for other folks. Reason number 4 is that the characters in the story hold each other down and constantly give each other support. Amani is so blessed because she really has an amazing support system in place. Her abuela helps her watch and care for her child, she has teachers who stoke her passion and her abilities, the father of her child co-parents with her and provides in certain ways, and she has an amazing group of friends who respect and support her talent. In so many ways, this story shows women especially holding each other down, fighting for each other, believing in each other, and never telling each other that they can't. As I read this book, I just kept thinking about the importance of having people who believe in you and give you the space to learn confidence and independence, the importance of being trusted and how that can make you grow. The truth is that you don't have to be perfect to deserve respect or trust, and you don't have to be fearless to let yourself trust. The amazing people, the amazing women in Amani's life teach her all these things and more, and I love that so much. And reason number 5 is that this story makes a point to distinguish that dreaming is not the same thing as being selfish. This is a big misconception that society ingrains and reinforces in our minds, and that's compounded when we're talking about a teen mom of color on the cusp of graduation who's facing all of these expectations. Amani constantly tells herself that she's not enough, that she doesn't have enough within her to pursue her dreams. If we limit ourselves, then we are defined by those limits. Amani has to learn that you guarantee yourself a no if you decide not to try in the first place. And like I said, Amani has an amazing support system made up of people who will not let her stop herself, even when it gets tough. Especially as a mother, if she plays it safe and chooses to basically sacrifice her personhood, she would be making her life and herself smaller to make that work. The truth is that if you can dream for yourself, then you can dream for the other people in your life. If Amani uses that ambition, that talent, that focus to pursue her dreams and allow herself and her life to change, then her child will be able to dream even bigger things that they can't even begin to imagine yet. To know what you want and to go after what you want is a kind of strength. To open yourself up to vulnerability and failure shows that you're willing to let whatever happens happen just for the chance at fulfillment. And there's something really powerful and humbling about that choice. The ability and the freedom to dream is something that we give other people and that other people give to us, and it's something that transcends circumstance and generations. Overall, this is such an empowering, hopeful, realistic, authentic, subversive story that proves that Acevedo's understanding of poetry only enhances her prose, and I highly recommend it. So those are just a handful of reasons to read this amazing book. As always, if you read this one yourself or if you would now like to, feel free to drop your thoughts in the comments and let's discuss. But that's everything I have for this review and recommendation today. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope that you enjoyed it, and I'll catch you on the flip side of the page.